The Galactic Confederacy ships appeared suddenly at the edge of Earth's solar system in 2157. They moved with graceful precision past Neptune and Jupiter, their silver hulls reflecting the distant sunlight. Earth's early warning systems detected them immediately, but there was nothing humanity could do except watch and wait. Admiral Ta stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his weathered face illuminated by the blue glow of monitors aboard Earth's orbital command station. The station, once considered mankind's greatest achievement, now seemed like a child's toy compared to the approaching alien fleet. "Look at how they move," he said to his officers. "They're not hiding their capabilities at all." The alien vessels demonstrated technology far beyond human understanding. They changed direction without apparent thrust, accelerated without visible engines, and communicated without detectable signals. The message was clear even before first contact: we are superior. 3 days after their arrival, the Confederacy ships established orbit around Earth. Global communication systems simultaneously broadcast the same message in every human language: we come in peace and fellowship. World leaders gathered at the United Nations headquarters in New York for the historic first meeting. The chamber buzzed with nervous energy as diplomats and politicians straightened their ties and smoothed their suits, preparing to represent humanity before the stars. Commander Park Ji stood against the back wall, her military uniform stark among the colorful diplomatic attire. As head of Earth's Space Defense Initiative, she had earned her place in this room, though many had argued against military presence at a peaceful first contact. The main doors opened. The alien representatives entered with fluid grace. They appeared almost human: 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head. But their blue-tinted skin and oversized eyes marked them as something entirely different. The lead diplomat introduced himself as Quan, his voice melodious and perfect in unaccented English. "We have watched your world for some time," Quan said, smiling at the assembly. "Earth is young, but promising. The Galactic Confederacy welcomes humanity to the greater community of intelligent species." The UN Secretary-General stepped forward to shake Quan's hand. Cameras flashed, capturing the historic moment as humans officially joined the galactic community. "We offer knowledge, technology, medicine, and protection," Quan continued. "Your world has much to offer in return, and we have much to teach." The chamber erupted in applause. Politicians beamed with pride and relief. After centuries of wondering if we were alone in the universe, humanity had not only found neighbors but benevolent ones offering to help advance Earth's civilization. Commander Park remained still, her dark eyes following every alien movement. She noticed how Quan's gaze lingered on military representatives. She saw how the aliens positioned themselves to view all exits. She observed the slight pause before their smiles, as if remembering to perform the gesture. General Hyun, Korea's military representative, stood nearby. Park leaned closer to him. "They're measuring us," she whispered, "not as equals, as resources." Hyun gave an almost imperceptible nod. "I see it too." The aliens presented gifts: medical cures for several diseases, plans for cleaner energy systems, and promises of limited space travel technology. World leaders signed preliminary agreements of friendship and cooperation. The aliens invited a delegation to tour their flagship, an honor that was quickly accepted. That night, as celebration parties continued worldwide, a different meeting took place. 500 feet beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a bunker designed to survive nuclear war, Earth's top military leaders gathered in person. No digital communications, no records, no assistance. They came from China, America, Russia, India, Europe, and a dozen other nations, setting aside old rivalries. Admiral Tai presented his analysis of Confederacy technology. General Hyun shared intelligence about previous Confederacy first contacts, gleaned from subtle questions to the aliens. Commander Park displayed behavioral analyses suggesting deception. "They're following a pattern," she explained. "They've done this before to other worlds. They offer technology, but withhold defensive capabilities. They study our resources more than our culture. They speak of partnership, but position themselves as teachers, not equals. The room fell silent as the implications became clear. "We need to prepare," Admiral Ta finally said. "Not for cooperation, but for survival." The highest-ranking American general nodded slowly. "What do you propose?" Commander Park stepped forward. "Project Dreadnought, a secret fleet built with both our technology and what we can learn from theirs, hidden where they won't look, built by people they won't suspect. That would require global cooperation unlike anything in human history," the Russian general noted. "Yes," Park agreed, "because if we're right about their intentions, this isn't about countries anymore. It's about our species." The vote was unanimous. Project Dreadnought was authorized, and humanity began its secret resistance while smiling at their new galactic friends. 5 years after first contact, Earth glowed with new prosperity. Confederacy medical technology had ended cancer and extended human lifespans. Clean energy towers replaced polluting power plants. Small human ships traveled as far as Mars with alien-designed engines. On the surface, a golden age had begun. Commander Park watched none of this from Earth. Her home now was Ganymede, Jupiter's largest moon, where she lived in an underground base with 5,000 of Earth's best engineers, scientists, and soldiers. The Confederacy had declared Jupiter's moons uninhabitable for humans and placed minimal monitoring systems there. This was humanity's advantage. Park walked through the massive ice caverns where Earth's secret fleet took shape. Workers crawled over the hulls of ships larger than anything humans had built before. They didn't shine like Confederacy vessels. These ships were matte black, designed to absorb rather than reflect, to hide rather than impress. "Status report," Park demanded as she entered the command center carved from Ganymede's ice. "Dreadnought 1 is at 84% completion," reported her assistant. 2 through 5 are between 60 and 75%. Park nodded and studied the main display showing Earth. A red dot appeared over every location where the Confederacy was extracting resources. There were hundreds. "They've started mining the ocean floor now," Park said, pointing to new indicators in the Pacific. "And they've doubled extraction rates in Australia." Engineer Song entered the room, dark circles under his eyes from too many sleepless nights. As the project's lead technical designer, he carried the weight of creating technology that could match or exceed alien capabilities. "Commander, I need to show you something," he said. In his private lab, Song activated a holographic display showing detailed scans of Confederacy shield systems. "They've given us scraps while taking our minerals," Park said bitterly as she watched the display. "And notice how they refuse to share any defensive technology." Song nodded, his hands moving through the hologram. "Their shields have a modulation pattern. I found a way to disrupt it using principles they seem to have overlooked." "Overlooked how?" Park asked. "They rely on energy fields that work like waves," Song explained, simplifying for Park's benefit. "But they never considered treating space itself as the medium. It's like they developed radio, but never considered underwater sound." Park's eyes widened slightly. "You're saying we can bypass their shields completely?" "Not just bypass," Song said with a small smile. "We can collapse them. I've tested it on the materials they provided. It works every time." For the first time in 5 years, Park allowed herself a moment of hope. Perhaps humanity stood a chance after all. Meanwhile, in Earth's orbit aboard the Confederacy command ship, Diplomat Quan prepared his report. The observation deck offered a perfect view of the blue planet. They were steadily draining of resources. Naval Commander Ba entered, his uniform signifying his much higher rank. Quan bowed deeply. "The humans continue to be cooperative," Quan reported. "They believe our story about needing resources for the greater galactic good. Resource extraction is 32% ahead of schedule." "And their military response?" Ba asked, his voice cold. "Non-existent. They suspect nothing," Quan said. "Their military capabilities remain at least 3 centuries behind ours. The technology we've shared cannot be adapted for weapons. Ba smiled thinly. Excellent. We begin the final phase next month. So soon? Quan asked, surprised. The standard protocol is 10 years of preparation. The Council is impatient. Earth has more valuable minerals than we initially thought. Ba looked down at the planet with calculating eyes. And humans reproduce quickly. Better to begin processing before their population grows further. Quan hesitated before asking, what about the preservation directive? Surely some human culture should be maintained in the archives. Ba gave him a sharp look. Are you developing sympathy for these primitives? No, Commander. Just following protocol. The new protocol is simple. Maximum resource extraction, minimal preservation. Ba turned to leave. Prepare the announcement. 1 month from today, we inform Earth of its new status. Back on Ganymede, Park received an encrypted message from Admiral Tai on Earth. She read it 3 times, her hands gripping the edge of her desk. They're moving up their timeline, she told her senior staff later. We have 1 month before they drop the pretense of friendship. The fleet isn't ready, objected her second-in-command. We need at least 3 more months. Park looked around the room at the faces of those who had sacrificed everything for Project Dreadnought. Then we work faster. Triple shifts, all personnel. Engineer Song will focus exclusively on weapons systems. And if we're still not ready? Someone asked. Commander Park's expression hardened. Then humanity falls, but not without a fight. As she dismissed her staff, Park looked at the display showing their unfinished dreadnoughts. They were humanity's only hope, and time was running out. The day began like any other. People went to work, children attended school, and life continued in what everyone now considered normal, a world enhanced by alien technology. Few noticed the sudden disappearance of Confederacy representatives from Earth's surface during the early morning hours. At 12 o'clock noon Greenwich Mean Time, every screen on Earth, televisions, phones, computers, public displays, switched to the same image. Naval Commander Ba's stern face. Behind him stood rows of Confederacy officers on what appeared to be the bridge of their command ship. People of Earth, Ba began without greeting. Your trial period has ended. The transmission continued without interruption as people worldwide stopped to watch in growing horror. Earth will now properly serve the Confederacy as a resource world. Ba continued. Your cooperation has been appreciated, but is no longer required. Resistance is futile and illogical. As he spoke, thousands of Confederacy warships emerged from hyperspace around Earth, appearing instantly in perfect formation. Their weapons powered up, targeting major cities. The ships were different from the diplomatic vessels humans had become accustomed to. These were clearly built for war, with massive cannons and armored hulls. You will surrender all governance to Confederacy officials, Ba instructed. Your militaries will disband. Your people will be cataloged and assigned appropriate labor duties. Those with useful skills will be preserved. The rest will serve as needed. Panic erupted in streets worldwide. Emergency services were overwhelmed with calls. Military bases went on high alert, though everyone knew Earth's weapons would be useless against the alien armada. The United Nations Security Council assembled an emergency session, broadcast live as the world watched. The Secretary General addressed the global audience with a grave expression. After consultation with all member nations, he announced, Earth has no choice but to accept the Confederacy's terms. To fight would mean the destruction of our cities and countless lives. As he signed the document of surrender, he added, we ask all citizens to remain calm and follow instructions. Remember that sunrise follows even the darkest night. Similar speeches followed from world leaders, all surrendering, all urging compliance, and all strangely mentioning sunrise, darkness, or dawn. What appeared to be defeat speeches to the Confederacy were actually activating a carefully planned global response. Military personnel abandoned bases for predetermined rally points. Key scientists and engineers disappeared from their homes. Strategic resources were moved or hidden. Commander Ba watched these speeches from his flagship with satisfaction. "Begin the landing," he ordered. "Secure their government centers first, then military installations." Diplomat Quan stood quietly in the back of the bridge, his expression carefully neutral despite his inner turmoil. This wasn't the diplomatic mission he had trained for. This was conquest, plain and simple. Hundreds of Confederacy troop carriers began descending toward Earth's surface. The first wave targeted Washington, Beijing, Moscow, and other capitals. Ba expected no resistance worth mentioning. Deep in space near Jupiter, Commander Park stood on the bridge of Earth's Vengeance, the first completed dreadnought. Around her, crew members worked in tense silence, monitoring systems that had never been tested in actual combat. Her communication officer turned from his station. "Commander, we've received the authorization code from Admiral Ta. It's authenticated." Park nodded once. 5 years of preparation had led to this moment. 5 years of secrecy, sacrifice, and desperate innovation. "Send the acknowledgement," she ordered. "Then connect me to all ships." The officer pressed several buttons, then nodded to Park. "You're connected to the fleet, Commander." Park looked at the display showing Earth surrounded by enemy vessels. Then she glanced at another screen showing the 5 completed dreadnoughts and 7 smaller attack cruisers that comprised humanity's secret fleet. They were outnumbered hundreds to 1. "All ships, this is Commander Park. You've trained for this day. You know what's at stake." She paused, then continued with steel in her voice. "Launch all vessels. Operation Emergence is now active." Throughout Jupiter's system, massive hangar doors opened in moons and asteroids. The black ships of humanity's secret fleet powered up engines unlike anything Earth had built before. They didn't use the combustion or even the ion drives the Confederacy would expect. Instead, they harnessed principles Engineer Song had discovered while studying alien technology, principles the Confederacy had overlooked. The dreadnoughts were unlike the sleek, curved ships of the Confederacy. These were angular, almost predatory in appearance, with jagged edges and matte black surfaces that absorbed light rather than reflected it. They moved with shocking speed for their size, accelerating toward Earth. On the bridge of Earth's Vengeance, Park issued her final order before battle. "Set course for Earth. Maximum speed. We'll engage the enemy from behind while they're focused on the surface." The Black Fleet vanished into jump space, using calculations Engineer Song had developed based on stolen Confederacy data. They would emerge behind the alien armada, striking where they least expected resistance. As her ship entered jump space, Park whispered words no one else could hear. "We're coming, Earth. Hold on just a little longer." Naval Commander Ba watched with satisfaction as the first wave of troop carriers entered Earth's atmosphere. Reports flooded in of human military bases abandoned, leaders surrendering, and minimal resistance. Everything was proceeding according to standard invasion protocol. "Sir, we have strange energy readings near Jupiter's orbit," reported a sensor officer. Ba barely glanced at the officer, probably just solar interference. "Focus on the landing operations." "Commander, the readings are moving," the officer insisted, "moving fast. Toward us." Before Ba could respond, the ship's alarm system activated. On the main view screen, 12 black objects appeared, approaching at impossible speed. "What are those primitive constructs?" Naval Commander Ba scoffed when the first alerts came in. "Some kind of last-ditch missiles." The bridge crew laughed nervously. The Confederacy fleet had faced desperate last stands before. Primitive species often launched whatever weapons they had, hoping for a miracle. The laughter stopped when the black ships dropped out of hyperspace directly among the Confederacy fleet. Up close, their size became apparent. These weren't missiles but massive warships, each nearly half the size of Ba's flagship. "Impossible," Ba whispered. "They don't have this technology." His words were cut short by blinding flashes of light. 3 Confederacy cruisers exploded simultaneously, their debris spreading across space. No warnings, no shield failures, no time to react. They simply disintegrated. "Report," Ba shouted. "Sir, the human vessels are using some kind of phase-shifted energy weapon." A tactical officer replied, his voice shaking. "It's bypassing our shields completely." "Return fire," Ba ordered. "All ships, destroy those human vessels." The Confederacy fleet responded immediately. Hundreds of energy beams streaked toward the Earth ships. But instead of exploding, the black vessels seemed to absorb the attacks, their hulls darkening momentarily before firing back. Commander Park stood calm on the bridge of Earth's vengeance as her fleet executed the carefully planned assault. Song's shield theories had proven correct. Confederacy weapons were powerful but predictable. The Dreadnoughts' hulls converted the energy into power for their own weapons. "Target their command ships first," she ordered. "Then their communication relays. Follow the attack pattern exactly as planned." Her officers responded with practiced efficiency. On the main display, red dots representing Confederacy ships began disappearing at an alarming rate. "Commander, they're trying to regroup," reported her tactical officer. "Predicted response," Park replied. "Deploy gravity lenses." The Dreadnoughts fired their most devastating weapons, not lasers or missiles, but concentrated gravitational distortions that Engineer Song had developed by studying how Confederacy ships manipulated space for travel. The invisible beams passed through shields, armor, and hull, crushing alien ships from within. On the Confederacy flagship, chaos reigned. Consoles exploded, crew members shouted contradictory reports, and the ship shuddered with each near miss. "Impossible," Ba shouted as his flagship rocked under another attack. "They were primitives. How did they?" "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the human fleet," his communication officer interrupted. "It's broadcasting on all frequencies." "Put it through," Ba ordered, his face darkening with rage. Commander Park's image appeared on screen. She wore a simple black uniform with no decorations or rank insignia. "This is Commander Park G of Earth's Defense Fleet," she stated calmly. "Your invasion has failed. Your ships are being destroyed. You have one chance to retreat." Ba laughed bitterly. "You've caught us by surprise, human, but the Confederacy has thousands more ships. This small victory will mean nothing when our main fleet arrives." "You forgot something important about humans," Park replied, her voice steady. "We prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. We've been preparing for 5 years." She leaned closer to the camera. "While you thought we were adopting your technology, we were studying your weaknesses. While you measured our resources, we measured your limitations. We know about your main fleet. We know about your other subjugated worlds. We know everything, Commander Ba." For the first time in his long career, Ba felt a chill of genuine fear. "All ships, prepare emergency jump to sector headquarters," he ordered. "We need reinforcements." As the remaining Confederacy vessels attempted to retreat, Earth's Dreadnoughts pursued relentlessly. The black ships matched every maneuver, somehow predicting jump destinations and arriving simultaneously. Diplomat Quan found Commander Ba on the damaged bridge. "Sir, we've lost over 60% of our fleet. We should consider their offer of surrender." "The Confederacy does not surrender to primitives," Ba shouted. Another explosion rocked the ship. The main power failed, leaving only emergency lighting. "Sir," a surviving officer reported, "the humans are targeting our hyperspace drives. We can't escape." On Earth's vengeance, Park received the update with a nod. "They're trapped. Offer surrender terms again." Within hours, the mighty Confederacy invasion fleet was reduced to scattered groups of damaged ships. Those that managed to activate emergency jumps fled through hyperspace gates, with Earth's Dreadnoughts in close pursuit. As Park watched the battlefield clearing, Admiral Tay's message came through from Earth. "Invasion forces neutralized on the ground. Humanity stands, Commander. Well done." Park allowed herself a small smile. The battle was won, but she knew the war was just beginning. The Confederacy would return with more ships, more weapons, but next time, Earth would not be facing them alone. 3 months after the Battle of Earth, Commander Park stood on the bridge of Earth's vengeance as it approached the Confederacy homeworld. The planet glowed blue-green beneath them, its 3 moons reflecting sunlight onto sprawling cities below. This world had ruled hundreds of planets for thousands of years. Now it faced something entirely new: defeat. Earth's fleet had pursued the retreating Confederacy forces across the galaxy. Each battle ended the same way: human technology overwhelming alien defenses. Along their path, they discovered dozens of worlds like Earth, planets the Confederacy had conquered and stripped of resources. "We're receiving the approach clearance, Admiral," said the communications officer, emphasizing Park's new rank. Park nodded. After the victory at Earth, the unified governments had promoted her to Admiral and given her authority to negotiate with the Confederacy. It still felt strange to hear the new title. "Take us in slowly," she ordered. "Keep shields active but weapons powered down. Let's show them we come to talk, not to destroy." The Dreadnought descended toward the Confederacy capital, a city of towering spires and floating platforms. A landing area had been prepared, surrounded by thousands of alien spectators. None had ever seen humans in person before. Engineer Song stood beside Park as they prepared to disembark. "Are you sure about this?" he asked quietly. "Walking into their capital seems risky." "If we want real peace, we need to show trust," Park replied. "Besides, they know what our ships can do now." The Confederacy Council chambers were vast, with seats for representatives from hundreds of worlds. Most seats were empty now. Word of Earth's victory had spread, and many conquered worlds had already declared independence. Admiral Park walked to the center of the chamber with only Song and 2 guards beside her. Above them, the remaining council members watched with a mixture of fear and anger. "We could have continued our campaign," Park stated simply, her voice echoing in the chamber. "We could have destroyed your fleets, bombarded your world, ended your empire completely. Instead, we offer terms for peace between equals." The head counselor, an ancient alien with pale blue skin, leaned forward. "You speak of peace, yet you threaten us with your weapons." "Not threats. Facts," Park replied. "The difference matters. A threat is what Commander Ba brought to Earth. Facts are what allow us to build something new together." Park activated a holographic display showing the terms. Earth would retain its revolutionary technology and independence. All subjugated worlds would be granted freedom to choose their own governance. A new galactic alliance would replace the Confederacy's empire, with equal representation for all member worlds. "These terms are non-negotiable," Park concluded. Angry murmurs filled the chamber. "You would destroy thousands of years of order and stability," shouted one counselor. "Order built on enslavement isn't order," Park responded. "Stability maintained through fear isn't stability." The debate lasted for hours. Eventually, faced with the reality of Earth's military superiority and the ongoing collapse of their empire, the council accepted the terms. As Park left the chamber, she found Diplomat Quan waiting in the corridor. "Admiral Park," he said with a bow, "I request asylum with Earth." Park studied him carefully. "You were part of the deception." "Yes," Quan admitted, "but I never agreed with the invasion. I was a diplomat forced to act as a spy. Why should I trust you?" "I always admired humans," he admitted to Park. "Your species accomplished in 5 years what took others centuries. I want to help build something better." After careful consideration, Park accepted Quan as an advisor, a decision that would prove valuable in the coming years as humans navigated galactic politics. The transition wasn't smooth. Some Confederacy worlds resisted the new order. Others attempted to become conquerors themselves. Earth's Dreadnoughts, once built for defense, became peacekeepers throughout the galaxy. 6 months after the peace agreement, representatives from 47 formerly conquered worlds gathered on Earth for the first meeting of the Galactic Alliance. They met in a new facility built specifically for interspecies cooperation, with environments suitable for all member races. Admiral Park opened the historic session with Engineer Song and Quan beside her. We were fortunate to have time to prepare, Park told the assembly of diverse beings. When the Confederacy came to Earth, they gave us years to study their weaknesses while they studied our resources. That mistake won't be repeated by future enemies. She looked around at the gathered representatives. Beings of all shapes, sizes, and evolutionary backgrounds. Our strength comes not from conquest, but from our ability to cooperate when threatened. That is the principle upon which this new alliance must be built. As Park spoke, Engineer Song was already meeting with scientists from other worlds, sharing the defensive technologies that had saved Earth. Not all of it. Humanity had learned caution, but enough to protect against future would-be conquerors. The galaxy entered a new era. The Confederacy became just one member world among many in the Alliance. Naval Commander Bai faced disgrace for his failure and lived out his days writing bitter memoirs that few read. And humanity, the species that had been dismissed as primitive, became known throughout the stars not for their conquest, but for their unexpected role as guardians of freedom. The Galactic Fleet had rejoiced. Quan later wrote in his history of the conflict, until Earth's dreadnoughts emerge, and the galaxy was forever changed.